bring you in. We're gonna say welcome. I'll have the connect with us, just so you can at least do the connect with us, and that's it. And then just go from there. Okay.
All right.
You ready? Here we go.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon to everyone, and we want to welcome you to our conversation. Being a Black woman in America today, my name is Vinzana Lasaith, and I am a life changer here at Life Changing Center International. We are located in Jacksonville, Florida. We are proud to host this conversation. It is a conversation. So we do invite you to like, comment, and share. Invite a friend, invite somebody, a cousin, a neighbor, somebody that needs to be a part of this conversation because it's so very important that we have this conversation. I am excited to bring in some of my sisters. They're not my friends, they are my sisters, and I'm super excited to get them in the building to join. Well, not in the building, in the live to join into this conversation. So we'll ask you to take a moment to like, share, comment, invite somebody as we get this started. All right, we'll start with our first individual. We're going to bring in Crystal. Crystal, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, Crystal. How are you?
Hi, I am good. How are you?
I am doing well. So we are going to have Crystal to introduce herself, and we're going to invite everyone first. You want to wait for everybody, Crystal? Or you want to introduce yourself now?
Doesn't matter.
All right. Let's bring everybody into the room, and then we'll have each of the ladies to introduce and tell you a little bit about themselves. All right. The next person that we have here is we have Ashley Teasdale. Welcome, welcome, Ash.
Good evening, everybody.
And then last but certainly not least, we have Miss Danielle Bordeaux.
Hey.
Hey, y'all excited?
Yeah.
Okay. So wanted to bring everyone on the floor first to have you to introduce yourself. So we're going to start with Crystal, then Ash, and then Dee, and tell the people a little bit about yourselves. And if you are on Facebook, be sure to like, comment, and share if you're watching the live. Go ahead, Crystal. Floor is yours.
Hey, good night, everyone. My name is Crystal Wilchcomb-Barther, and I am in South Florida, Boca Raton area, by the way of Grand Bahama. I am an accountant, a mom, a wife, and I am happy to be here tonight to join in the conversation with other amazing Black women.
Glad to have you. All right. Ash, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ashley Teasdale, coming to you from Columbia, South Carolina. I'm really, really excited to be here amongst all these beautiful Black women, and so proud of my good friend Vinzana and all the great things that her and Jonathan are doing in Jacksonville, Florida. Some great friends of ours and over there making a huge difference. So proud of them, but just happy to be a part. I'm in the daytime, I'm in economic development with state government, assisting businesses that's coming into the state of South Carolina with the creation of jobs and economic prosperity for all. And then outside of that, I am a mom of two girls, a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I have a wonderful husband, John. So I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Sounds good. Thank you, ma'am. All right, last but certainly not least, Danielle.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Bordeaux. I am a mom of a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, a wife, a mom, and a business owner. Pretty much love to talk. We have a church also. I'm excited. Super excited to be a part of Vinzana's life. Such an amazing friend, prayer warrior. A sister. How we met is just like clicked right away. I love her so much, and I love John and the family as well. And just happy to be here.
Y'all wasn't supposed to make me cry. We talk about conversations. Okay. Okay. All right, ladies. So I am so glad that you guys are here, and we are going to jump into the conversation and make sure that I have the feed going on just in case we have questions popping up. And of course, I was trying to share it, so give me a second. Let me share it. All right. And there we go. All right. I've shared it so we can have even more people to join the discussion. All right. We are going to get started here. We wear so many hats as women, and 2020 has added a whole different hat. We've always been Black women, like, so that didn't change. But I feel like there's a new definition or a new hat as a Black woman, especially in 2020. And we're going to start off the conversation as mothers, as mothers. So each of you shared. Crystal, did you share your mother of how many children, stepmom, all that good stuff?
I have an 8-year-old, and I also have an adult bonus son.
All right. So all mothers in the group. So I want to hear your take, especially we all have young children.
Mm-hmm.
I have 7 and 11. So my first question that I want you guys to think of is, at what age did you personally think it was okay to start discussing racism, Black Lives Matter? At what age did that conversation happen in your house, and how did that conversation happen? Or if it hasn't happened, why not? So any takers, or should I? Y'all know I'm a teacher at heart, so you gonna volunteer. Wow.
I would go first. I would say about 2 years ago, like at the age of 5, 6, or more 6, 7, in first grade, because that's when they start those projects for Black History Month in February. So we did.
Only in February, but go ahead.
Yeah, so doing the projects and picking out the person that you wanted to honor for that month and learning about them brought about a lot of questions as to why. And then I really had to start talking to her when she would get invited for a birthday party. I would always ask the question, not consciously, but I would be like, are they brown like you? And it didn't bother her at first, but then she started saying, why do you ask if they're brown like me? And then I had to start the conversation then. And then also going to a school where everyone doesn't look like you and you're being singled out by certain students, those conversations just had to start in first grade very early. I didn't think I would have to start them so early, but that's when the conversation began.
Did it begin that early for you?
No, because growing up, I didn't see color. I had got parents that were white. My mom worked within the hospitality industry. And so my godparents were there from I was a baby, and they were white. If we had family gatherings and they were in town, they were around our family. We were a part of their family, and they were a part of our family. So we never saw color. I don't think I experienced color and racism until I actually came to college.
It's good to know. What about you, Dee? Have you started having those conversations? Any type
yes,
of conversation yet?
my daughter goes to a school that's mostly Caucasian and mixed. She is natural. Her hair is natural, never has been processed. And she came home asking why her hair isn't long or straight like the other girls. And there were some comments about the texture of her hair. But like I told her, at the end of the day, if you cut that person that's another color lighter than you, they're going to bleed the same blood. So my daughter's best friend is Caucasian, and her mother has been reaching out to us, sending letters saying they're for us and they're standing with us and praying with us. Because at the end of the day, we're not teaching our kids color. We're teaching them love, and that's how God looks at us, regardless of what other people are doing or putting out there. We're responsible for the generation we're sending out there.
That's crazy, and that is, and we'll get to you, Ash. I remember Khalees said the same thing, and I paused for a minute. She's like, well, why isn't my hair straight? I want my hair like my doll's hair. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. This didn't come in the manual. Well, we didn't get a manual, but you know, those are the things that they're seeing. You know what I mean? And like, but anyway, you go ahead, Ash. So have you started the conversation, and remind the viewers again of the ages of your kids so we can kind of, you know.
Mhm. So yeah, I have two girls, 9-year-old and 3-year-old. Of course, the 3-year-old is too young to really know what's going on, but Janelle does, and I think the conversations with her started around 7. And it's something about that going to the first grade phase of life, and they really start beginning to see things in a different light, to where they're questioning why somebody said something a certain kind of way, or why did they experience something a certain kind of way. So I think one of the first things with her was she had a friend at school who doesn't live in the neighborhood, and they were going to be having a birthday party. And the little girl who was white mentioned to Janelle that she was invited to the party, but she told Janelle, she said, well, I have two parts to the party. I have a sleepover part and a pool part. And my mom said, you can come to the pool part. You can't come to the sleepover part because only the white girls can sleep over. So Janelle was just like, is there a reason why I can't do the sleepover part? And it was just like me and John was looking at each other like, who's going to take this one? And it was just too much. I mean, it's just too much. And, you know, I kind of had to come back to the conversation because I was really angry that this is the issue that we have in America.
That we still have.
That we still have, and these things are taught. So it's taught from generation to generation, and these children hear parents talking that way or having some type of discriminatory comments about another race, and it keeps happening from generation to generation. And you know, we had to sit down and tell her, you know, this is what this is like, and you know, some people feel a certain kind of way about, you know, African Americans and this. So it was a tough conversation, and we tried to finagle through it a little bit, and she understood it for the most part, but it was just a really, really tough thing as a mom to have to deal with something at such a young age. I mean, she hears it, she sees it, she feels it. We've had the hair conversations, which was a big prompter for me to go through the natural journey. And I cut off all my perm and went natural because I wanted both of my girls to see that natural is beautiful, that curls are beautiful, because she was coming to me saying, I want straight hair. And I wanted her to see that what God gave us is beautiful, and we are beautiful just the way we are. So it's amazing the things that they go through at such an early age, but this is the time that we have to really shape it and to help them understand and be the strong women and men that they need to be now, because what they're dealing with now is going to be nothing 5 years from now. It's going to get worse. It's going to get tougher. It's going to be more emotional. It's going to hurt more. So the more that we can do to help shape that now, hopefully we can lessen the blow a bit.
So all of us have girls, right? Dee and I are the only one with boys, and then Crystal, your bonus son. Do you think the conversation differs between boy and girl as it pertains to racism and Black Lives Matter? And I'll start as you're thinking about it. I punk out when it comes to these conversations. I will call John in a heart. You know what? Let me go. It's a load of clothes to be washed. Let me go. And because it's like, I think when you're not exposed to something as a child, and Crystal and I both grew up on the same island, and it just, I just did not see color. It's just, I just didn't. So when I came over for college and to South Carolina, I was like, what are we doing? Like, this was in the books. We still doing this? People not handing you money on your hand, putting it on the table because they don't want to. So that was like, you know, so going back to the kids, like, is it different? I feel like Jonathan has different conversations with Jay than he does with Khalees. Do you feel like that's going to be the case for you, Danielle, as Josiah grows older? Do you think those conversations are going to differ a whole lot? And we would love to hear
Definitely.
your comments, by the way, audience. You're there. We can see you.
Yeah. Definitely. I would say so because I just feel like being a black male, it's kind of like it's already a stereotype out there, like they're already labeled to fail. Because majority of us, being honest, we come from broken homes. And a lot of the young guys, I mean, it's rare that you see married people that are African American with both parents under the roof. So sometimes I think the little boys don't have that role model and they're looking to what's on TV or what they see in school and they think that's what life is about. And they're already labeled because that's their mentality. That's all they know. They haven't been exposed to anything else. So I definitely think that for Josiah, that's a conversation we'll have to have as he gets older to just let him know to just be cautious of how you dress and what you do and how you speak in the company you keep because you're already being labeled, unfortunately. But I did tell myself when all of this was going on, there's a scripture say that we're in the world but not of the world. I'm not going to raise my son to be fearful. I'm not going to raise him because the police is around to drive with his license or his registration on the seat because you didn't do anything. You don't have to fear man. So I'm definitely teaching him, though this is going on, you don't have to walk in fear because you're covered.
That's good. What about you, Crystal? Have you had conversations with your bonus son about this or your hubby?
No, he's a bit older, but the conversation between a boy and a girl is definitely different because I feel like when we're talking to our sons, we're talking to them on the line of safety.
Mhm.
When women or young girls start to face racism and starting to see color, it's more self-awareness. It's a comparison between me and that white friend, me and that white classmate. Why are they treating me this way? Versus we want to groom our men and protect them so that they are safe. So we're teaching them a different way, talk this way, be mannerly, telling them what to do in the event that they get pulled over, telling them what to do in the event that they even get in trouble in school and they're just in the wrong crowd and being called to the principal office, how to sit up, how to respond back. Versus our girls, it's more self-esteem, self-awareness, be embracing who you are versus that safety talk, because we see more men dying or more men being affected than the women are.
That's true. That's true. Well, let's pose the question to our audience and let's see if anyone in the audience has some feedback on that. Two questions that you can think about. At what age did you start having these conversations with your son or daughter or your niece, your nephew, with somebody, godchild, somebody? And then the other is, did the conversations differ between male and female? So we're hoping to really have a conversation, and that's why this is entitled A Conversation. And we don't want to just be the four people in the conversation. So as we get those comments, we'll share them and we'll comment and we'll come back to them. But I do have one final question for the ladies on motherhood. This year has been different. Yes, we've had these conversations before. You had to at some point, right? But this year, how do you protect them from everything that's going on and not protect them, if that makes sense? Does that make sense? Like, I don't want you to know what's going on because I need you to sleep at night, but I need you to know what's going on because I need you to be educated and be aware of what's kind of happening. So as the year has taken a
Falling off the cliff.
just kind of just hanging on there. How do we protect? How do we protect and educate?
So for me, so I think it differs from family to family. It depends on the child.
Mhm.
Some kids tend to be a little bit more engaged into what's going on in the world, and some aren't. My 9-year-old is kind of a news junkie a bit, so she's
Wonder where
very.
you get that from.
I know, right? Um, she's very in tune from everything to protests to riots to COVID to everything. So one thing that we do with Janelle, and this was a really good recommendation from a friend of mine, I have allowed her to start watching the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, but it's the kids edition. And it's specifically the news for young kids. It's built around kids, and they do not shy away. I know they don't shy away from any of the major moments and events that's going on here in the country and abroad, but they bring it down to the kid level. And from a COVID-19 response, they talk about what the virus is, what's happening, what's the impacts. And then they have these special stories about other kids that's doing things in their community to help maybe the elderly or doing care packages. So it ties together what's happening, but it brings it to their level, and also a way for them to be able to maybe do something that is some way impactful. So something that she took from that was she wanted to do a small care package for the mailman, and have something for him, and to say, hey, we appreciate you. Here's a little bag of sanitizer. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, and some water bottles. And then also they talk a lot about the protests. They talk a lot about the George Floyd, and we were able to have that conversation with her, but she was able to see it broken down from a national and an international perspective. So that's something, a technique that we have used in this house, playing off of her, desire for technology and news, to be able to be brought to her, and we can have a collective conversation in the house together.
I love that. If production team, if you're able to find that information and post that to comments, because I had no idea that even existed. Jake is very much into deep thoughts and understanding what's happening, and I think that's a great one. What about you, Crystal D?
Similar to her, PBS launched a Sesame Street video of the current events that are going on as well. But Micah, straight up CNN, Kumo's her boy, and she just watches the news, and she passed the TV and she asks questions. So we're just very transparent with her, answering her questions when they come up. So she's very inquisitive. So we're just straight up answering her questions as she sees the news. I don't discourage her from watching the news. I don't turn off the TV if something's on. I think she has the right to know, and it's better for her to learn it at home than to go out there and someone else give her their views and their opinions of what's happening. And we need to address those in our home and our views and set the standard for our kids before they go back out there.
Where's the ping button? Y'all will follow me all the way up. I love every minute of it. All right, Dee, what do you think?
I would say right now, my 7-year-old, I have a 7-year-old. My son is 3, so that's not a discussion right now with him. But with my daughter, as she was saying, my daughter is very inquisitive. Like, she's always trying to figure something out, and I'll notice when I do her monthly phone checks to see what's going on the cell phone, I can see in Google she's searching certain things that are going on. So that's when I know, hey, you need to sit down and talk to her. So pretty much if she comes to me, then I'll address it. But I try not to, bring it up, because I don't want to cause her to be fearful with all of this going on. And then I don't want like hatred to build up too, because I know lately she has been telling me like, what's the KKK and why are they doing this to people? So I'm trying to tread lightly and just let her reach out to me when she's ready, and just praying for wisdom, because right now, being a parent, we definitely need wisdom.
Very, very good ideas. As we end the motherhood aspect of the conversation, one of the things that we did in the Lesate household, we felt that it was important that the kids are knowledgeable about the past. Is we can't understand kind of, we don't want the kids to see just Black men and women dying and doing bad stuff. We need them to see prominent Black men and women, other than, just family and the people that we surround ourselves. So they have been assigned weekly individuals, and they have to present a presentation on their research every week, every Sunday. So that has been working really well, just so that they can understand. And so selfishly enough, we can be reminded too, because, so I'm excited. This week is James Baldwin and Ruby Bridges. So I'm excited. Khalees already, I told her, you're going to watch the movie, because she's 7, so she needs a little bit more than just Google or whatnot. But she already has questions from the movie. Well, why wasn't she allowed in a school? So it's good to just hear these other ideas that you guys are using and seeing that they're working and integrate them into our household. And I think we're gonna be okay.
I love that idea. I'm gonna steal it.
Yeah.
You're such a teacher. No
Yes,
break
she
for the kids.
She can't walk
I remember. But let me tell y'all. So Khalees creates a presentation, and Sister Girl creates a presentation where she don't even have to talk during the presentation. She has a video going on, and she just up there like, and my person for the week is Rosa Parks, and her presentation going on. But anyway, we have to protect them, and we have to educate them during this time. That's a part of our responsibility. All right, what time is it? Time's already good. Oh man. Okay, I want to shift over to talking about being a wife. I told you guys that's a whole show. And my husband is here, so.
We love you, John.
Okay. But being a wife in today's America, I mean, so where do we start? I guess one of the biggest things that I think that would be an interesting conversation piece is, how do you have your own feelings? Because we are feeling, X, Y, and Z as Black women, right? So we're feeling that in our own space. We also have the joint responsibility of protecting and educating the kids. But how do you support your husband as he's going through a whole separate set of feelings that you and I don't know if I can say we can relate to? Well, I'm not a man, so I can't, I can assume, but how do we support them as they are going through their own set of feelings? Let's go with Sunshine, Crystal. The
yellow is calling you? Give me time to gather my thoughts.
Anybody can start then.
As a woman, we are emotional beings, first off. So, of course, we're going to be over emotional about what's going on. And we have to understand that the way that our husbands process things are different. The only thing I can do is kind of pray, and every day literally pray that when they leave the house, that they come back home. Because for me, it's scary. I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. So we don't even walk the neighborhood anymore because I'm scared. Or he would, if we're driving and he's carrying because he has a permit to carry, I'm scared because if a police pull us over and he's like, relax, we're going to be fine. But the police does not see us. They see a Black man and a Black woman in the car, and they don't care about our background. Our degrees is not up on the windshield, and they don't know who we are, and we are judged. So all I can do is pray because I'm very emotional when it comes to that, and then check in with him to see how he's feeling, what's going on in his day, at his job. What did he encounter that day? Because he do encounter issues of racism on the job all the time. So it's just checking in.
We're still here.
Just checking in and making sure he's mentally okay. But me not trying to be overly emotional and you're fine, don't leave the house. Like they left the house whilst we were recording, and I was like, you guys be careful. And she's like, oh, we're not going into no store or anything. I'm like, I'm not talking about COVID, I'm talking about being Black. And he was like, no, don't worry, we'll probably just go out to a park. But I'm like, a little girl and her family just got killed at a park. So me, I'm emotional with them being out, but to him, he's like, oh, we're not going to be around anybody. He's thinking COVID and I'm thinking race. So I just have to be, yeah,
I know what to call it.
I just have to be prayerful, and I have to check in and make sure that everything is okay mentally and support the decision, because as the man of the house, he's the leader. So you have to kind of follow their lead.
Oh, that hit different when you just said, like literally just leaving the house, and it's like, no, I don't even care about Corona. Like I care about Corona, but before Corona, I just need you to be careful just because of the color of your skin.
Yeah.
In the year of our Lord 2020, I need you to be careful because of the color of your skin. Okay, who next? Just
I can go next. I definitely agree with what Crystal said. You do have to be prayerful. I think the biggest thing that I've tried to be and still continuing trying to be for my John is, I think more so from me, he needs a listening ear, because he's an analyzer. He processes everything in his head step by step by step by step. So when things happen on the national stage, he's very emotional about it inside. And when it comes out, he just needs me to hush and listen. And he just needs to get it out. And I have to remind myself of that, because me and him deal with these situations very differently. So he likes to read detail for detail for detail, exactly what happened. And did the guy move? And did he go for his wallet? And did he move his arm this way? And did he? And I'm more of, I don't even want to read it, because I'm just so emotionally exhausted with just the foolishness in this country. And it's so burdensome. So a lot of times when he's ready to talk about it and say, did you hear about such and such? And I'm like, babe, I don't even want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear who got shot. I don't want to hear about who died. But then I have to stop, because that's how he processes it, and he needs to get it out. And he needs to get it out in that way, because he wants to talk about, if I'm in this situation, here is what I want to do, and here's what I need to do. And these are the things that I want to do, so I can be sure that I'm coming home to you and Janelle and Aubrey, and I'm not having the same situation and you're having to come identify my body. So for us in our household, it's really just patience and listening, because he likes to talk through it. But then again, I like to shy away from it. So he needs that listening ear.
balance, right, of marriage.
It is such a balance because this stuff wears down on you, because it's like not a week go by that we don't hear a story about somebody didn't make it home. Somebody was just walking home. I mean, it's just like, why? Like, why is it 2020 and we still dealing with this craziness just because of the color of our skin, or because somebody saw somebody walking and they just felt uncomfortable because you was Black, or they just felt like you're not supposed to live here. How do you feel like I'm not supposed to live somewhere or be somewhere? So, when you expose yourself to these stories so much, it just start to wear on you, and you start looking at everybody a different color side eye. And it's very emotional. But for me and with my husband, it's just really being patient, being kind, being that listening ear, and just slowing down and letting him get out whatever it is that he need to get out, and be that listening ear for him.
What about you, Dee? How do you support Mr. Antonio?
I agree with everything that the women said. Just praying right now, just asking for a lot of wisdom in that area. So I agree with everything that they said.
And I think that's so important because, like we said, there's always you trying to balance, because we're feeling, and we still have to support. One thing that happened this year, I can't remember which death, unfortunately, because there's been countless. And I watched John just being, not saying it, but he was angry. Like, it was just like, again, and I struggled with I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if yeah, like I'm your shoulder, or if I should just leave you alone and allow you to process. But it goes back to something that he and I always say when we're having marriage talk is we have to be the support for each other. You know what I mean? Like when you needed to let it out, be that space, be that safe space for your husband to be able to let it out. And then if he needs a moment, give him that moment. But I think it goes back for us to communication, because some of the times I'm just like, okay, I am praying for wisdom, but I need your help. If you need a moment, I need you to come out and say, I need a moment. And if you want to talk, let's talk, because we just won't know what to do. Like we don't know what to do. And just to have that scary feeling of whenever our spouse leaves the house, oh my goodness, on top of the coronavirus, like throw the whole earth away.
Right. It's a huge burden, and it got to be something to be able to walk this earth and be of another race and not have to carry the burdens that we have to carry. They'll never have to have the conversations that we have to have with our children. They'll never have to have the worries that we would have to have about our spouses. Just this past Sunday, when John was going to church to do the streaming, he was already at the church, and I just happened to look on the counter, and his wallet, he left his wallet on the counter. And I sent him a text, and I was like, hey, babe, you left your wallet on the counter on the way home. Please drive like 10 miles below and just get home safe, because we ain't got time for no foolishness with no cops. And but when you really think about that,
isn't that crazy?
It's just, if you was another race, it would just be like, oh, dog it, we left the wallet at the house. But it's like our thoughts are immediately, oh my God, if you are stopped, this is like a crazy situation that's about to happen. And it just shouldn't even be like that. And that's our reality.
And the funny thing with that is, if it was someone else, they would run the tag and come to the car and confirm the name.
Yeah.
But if it's us, it's automatic. We don't have that option of we left our wallet. We don't have that option of our license got stolen. We don't have that option, but they have that advantage of, oh, let me run your tag, and then the officer walks to the car and confirm. But we don't have that option, and it's sad that we have to make those calls and those decisions.
That's crazy. I remember when Jonathan was traveling a lot for work, and he got stopped on a back road, and he decided, they were trying to pull him over on a back road, and he decided not to stop. He called the 911 and told them he's not stopping because there is no lighting. It's not a safe area to stop, but he wants them to stay on the phone with him until he got to a safe place. And in so many words, when they finally got to the safe place, the cop was like, you should have never done that. But what's our alternative? Like, I'm not stopping in the dark where nobody can see me. I need a witness. And apparently cameras don't even matter. To them, our lives don't matter, and the footage don't matter. So I most definitely ain't stopping in the dark. In the country at that.
Yep.
But we just have so much on our, it's heavy. And, one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation is to let people know we are all what others would consider, when they look at us, successful Black women. But just because others deem you as successful Black women, it doesn't mean that it's not heavy. It hurts. Because we have to put on this face like, we're going to pray about it. We don't hurt. I pray about it and hurt. Can both of those fit in the equation? You know what I mean? Like, are we allowed to be human and still pray, or just because we pray, we have no feelings? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, well, look at our time, y'all. We almost, because Ash got to go in a few minutes. So I got one last question. Okay. What advice would you give to someone that is a Black wife, a Black mother, and we didn't even get to employer or employee? We might have to do part 2 of this, y'all. We didn't even get to that, but what advice would you give to someone younger? I won't put any age on it. What advice would you give to another woman? Let's start with D.
Oh, me.
Yeah, that's you, boo.
I would definitely say, just be cautious of your surroundings, because I'm not sure if you all heard, but I see something on Facebook going around that women are being snatched up, like in parking lots and stuff.
Yes, they're tying something onto the mirror or putting something onto your windshield.
Yeah, so I say just be cautious. Know your whereabouts. If you're going somewhere, let somebody know where you're going. Let them know, hey, if I don't return in X amount of time, call me. Like, it's sad that it has to be that way, but it has to be that way. Apparently the truth lives on Facebook Live now, and apparently we have to keep our phones in the middle, ready to start a live, in order to bring things to the surface. But I would just say, continue to be prayerful, and try not to allow the animosity and the hatred to grow. Because I know sometimes, when things are happening, like I have a Black son. I'm thinking about if my son was, Floyd, if this was him, like, it makes you bitter, it makes you angry. But you have to remember, God loves us all, and people only do what they're taught. Racism is taught.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Crystal, what advice do you have?
Well, I have this favorite scripture that relates and ties everything in, and it's from 1 Samuel 16:7.
Bring the word.
It says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, don't consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. So with that, no matter how we look on the outside, no matter what's going on, God looks at the heart, regardless the color of your skin, regardless of what's going on in the economy. So my advice to someone else, if you believe in God, he has the final say. So it does not matter what people say or what's going on. You got to put your trust in him, because we can't put our trust in law enforcement. We can't put our trust in the government. We can't put our trust in our jobs. We can't put our trust in humans. So we literally have to lean on him, especially during this time. And if you have affirmations that you can say daily, I would say those affirmations, speak it daily so that you can start convincing yourself, because it can be hard and it can be a toll on you mentally. But if you engrave that scripture in your heart, I mean, what's better than the word? If you engrave that scripture in your heart and you develop that attitude, like, I don't care, God got the final say, I think you'll be all right.
Woo. Okay, fix the shirt. That was good. Go ahead, Ash, as we wrap it up.
So the one thing I would say is, you know, God has definitely not given us the spirit of fear. We have to tell ourselves every day, I refuse to walk in fear. I refuse to walk in doubt. I refuse to walk with my head hung down. We are queens. Our husbands are kings of God. And, you know, if you believe in God and you walk in this spiritual life, you know, you have to figure out that balance for you to not only stay knowledgeable, or as the young people say, stay woke, but we also have to have that balance of not walking in fear. So keeping up with what's going on, keeping yourself educated. What do I need to do to keep myself and my family protected? But refusing to walk out of that door in fear that whatever is going to happen to me and whatever is set out for my day, God set that path for me. That was his divine, you know, plan for my life. And he has the ultimate say so in whatever happens. But, you know, refusing to, you know, just have this mindset of I'm less than, because we're not, we're greater than. We are greater than, and God has given us that ability. He's given us that strength. You walk out those doors, anoint every single person in your household, and ask for God to cover us, and know that he got us. But as long as you have that balance of staying informed, but not walking in fear, that's my advice I would give to Black women.
Excellent, excellent. I want to thank you ladies so very much for your time. I appreciate this is just the beginning of, I think, many conversations. And if I had to end with my advice, they all gave spiritual advice, which is very much needed. Number one, my advice would be to continue to have these conversations. Find you a team. Right? Like, because everyone, like your spouse and all that good stuff, they might be processing that information. I can text any one of these ladies. I don't have to say hi. I don't have to say how you doing. I am a hot mess today. Right?
Call me now.
Right. Right. I am going to hurt your godchild, because all of them honorary god. You know what I mean? Like, but it like on the real, like we have got to get off of this thing where we feel like the whole earth has to be on our shoulders. We need to get around people that support us, that love us, and that's going to call us out. Yeah. You know, at that same point. So yes, go to God. That's your first foremost. Yeah, I hope you believe in God. You on this live. Okay. Inbox me if you do. We can have Bible study tonight. But seriously, but I want to thank everyone for their time. I think this is the beginning. I will be coming back to you ladies, because I think there needs to be round two, and we can talk about whatever, you know, avenue we want to go with that. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out with us. We got to take care of these children, these men. Ashley's still on the job. You know, we got life to hang out with. But thank you guys for joining us. I love each of you. Thank you. And we're going to peace out.
All right.
Love you guys.
Hold on. Let's do a quick picture. See if someone can take it. We go, y'all. Bye. Have a good night.
Have a good night.